enumerating it?
That is a very important question, because you see, sometimes the Satan can creep into any good intended activity and spoil it. It is important that when people do things and perform something like this, then they know the best way. I think the best way to celebrate the birthday of the Prophet is to do it within the guidelines of Islamic principles. Islam is a religion that has best practices. It has do's and don'ts. So those general guidelines should be observed during such activities. And to give you an example, to do it like the intention must be pure. For example, the day or the night, or at least the time that you leave your house to go to these places, you have to have a sincere intention that you are going to listen about the Prophet. Secondly, is that men and women should be separated, and they should dress properly, because without causing any attraction that can also help the devil, for example.
You said places.
Yes, I'm saying that before you leave to place or to any place that you go, you have to have an intention to go and listen to the stories of the Prophet. Secondly, men and women should be separated, for example, because when they mingle, there might be attractions, or for example, they use improper language that can help the devil at least to creep into what they intended as a good thing and then spoil it. Thirdly, I think the narration should focus on the Prophet. There's another way of doing it. It should focus on the Prophet rather than talking about my grandfather or talking about myself, because you call people to the Prophet. You should not deviate from focusing on the Prophet and talking somebody else's grandfather or
Well, Dr. Amarja there on the significance of Maulud Nabi or Gamo. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare and National Assembly Matters recently continued his tour of health delivery facilities across the country, with visits to 6 such facilities in the central and rural river regions. Balagaba Jahumba is trying to acquaint himself with conditions at hospitals and health centers and challenges confronting health workers. Fatou Jassi picks up the rest of that story.
From Banjul, the health minister's entrance first port of call was the Jisari Health Post. Natives of the Central River Settlement, located 20 kilometers from the highway, say this is the first time a health minister is actually visiting them to see and listen to the community's needs on behalf of the president. Upon arrival, the minister and entrance were taken on a conducted tour of the health facility by the nurse in charge and the regional health director. The meeting which followed brought together the Alcalo and other representatives of the community who expressed their concerns and the problems affecting the health post. The procedure continued from Pianye to the Nana Health Post in the Central River region. Minister Jahumpa, fondly called Action Man, did not hesitate to assure locals of his ministry's readiness to resolve some of their most immediate needs. Some of the issues raised were the lack of electricity, inadequate nurses, running water and an ambulance to respond to emergencies, among others. Addressing the gathering, Minister Jahumpa said their concerns are well noted and some of them will be quickly addressed to ease the delivery of health services. At Janjambure, a team of supporters who are the founders of Jamali Clinic from UK, led by Reverend Malang Mendy, paid a courtesy call on the minister and entourage, explaining the interventions the administration continues to render for the community.
On behalf of the governor of CRR, on behalf of the people of CRR, on my own behalf of Minister for Health and Social Welfare, on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia and the people of the Gambia, we would like to thank our friends from Cornwall and all those who have supported you in order for your group to be able to come to the Gambia and support our educational sector and our health sector.
The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, Matilda Boy, on behalf of the Minister, presented a certificate of appreciation to Governor Ganye Toure for the warm reception they were accorded.
We want to hand over this piece of paper highlighting our appreciation and gratitude to the Governor and staff of CRR. Governor, we want to say thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
For the support and effort you do.
Governor Toure expressed delight in seeing a minister visiting the smallest health post in the village to address the challenges hampering health services in the area.
You can just sit in Banjul and you get Jacoba and others, they will just inform you. But for you to go all the way down to the forest, to the forest areas, and see what's happening on the ground, is a good move.
The Pakaliba Health Post was the next destination visited, taking the top party deep into LRR where several clinics and health facilities were appraised. Kajali Jabate in his speech expressed appreciation for the minister's visit, adding that government alone cannot do everything. As such, the community's friends from Switzerland have been helping to build a new ward among other initiatives. Minister Jahumpa expressed appreciation to the donors and the coordinator Kajali Jabate for the support, helping to improve the health post and assured them of his ministry's commitment to address their needs in the quickest possible way. From Pakaliba, Minister and Entras headed to Jalambere Health Post, a private clinic built by Spanish nationals and Gambians in Spain. After listening to their concerns, the minister promised to provide essential drugs and urged them to follow the normal procedure of handing over the health post to the ministry as the scheme has elapsed. Japane Health Post was the last stop for that day. The nurse in charge, Ansumana Manjang, said things are working well with support from the Gambia and Foundation Netherlands. Going round the facility, Minister promised to provide some laboratory tools needed as well as essential drugs. Tour continues the following day in the West Coast region. For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
Well, we apologize for the poor picture signal of that report. The next Operation Clean the Nation is slated for Saturday, 26 January 2013 throughout the country. A news release from the National Environment Agency reminds all governors, Seifolu, Alkalulu and councillors of the presidential directive, urging them to organize and coordinate the national cleanup exercise in their localities. The agency, through the dispatch, solicits the support, cooperation and active participation of the general public, all government and private institutions, CI companies, youth organizations, members of the Gambia Transport Control Association and Tipper Garage at Bakote in the national exercise. Officials of the Ministry of Agriculture have validated the $12 million West Africa Agricultural Productivity Program's baseline report. The document, as Samuelba reports, is expected to improve and enhance agricultural productivity and production in the Gambia.
This document, a baseline study for the successful implementation of the WAP project, was recently validated by project officials and stakeholders in the agricultural sector. The 10-year multi-million-dollar project, which focuses on agriculture, research, dissemination, and adoption of new technologies, is a sub-regional package which started in 2007 in neighboring countries and was introduced in the Gambia in 2011 thanks to the support of the President of the Republic.
It was through His Excellency, the President, Chief Professor Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh's personal request and effort that Gambia benefited from the WAP.
The baseline study defines the pre-implementation conditions for a set of indicators that will be used to assess achievement of the outcomes and impacts expressed in the project's logical framework. The study in the 6 regions of the country generated data and information on indicators at district, community, and household levels.
The project is neither owned by the Ministry of Agriculture nor owned by DOA or NARI. It's owned by the Gambian farmers. The WAP, the PCU, the MOA, and all the stakeholders, even NGOs inclusive. The WAP is dealing with 5 commodity crops and agricultural priority areas.
We come up with a baseline data that we can use to measure how far we have gone in achieving our set goals and targets.
The document further highlights, among other things, focus on household and farming systems, characteristics of the respondents, and the provision of support service to the farming communities.
If the coordinator is talking about production and productivity, personally and to all of us who are involved in extension, I think resources is a key. Without resources, we all know, production and productivity, I'm not saying it will fail, but probably what we are looking forward to, we may not achieve it.
The validated 26 leaflet is henceforth a working document expected to bring to fruition the goals of the over 12 million